federal government may stop paying for Medicare and Medicaid patients to be admitted at Central Maine Medical Center over problems, including a nursing error that left a patient paralyzed, according to a federal report. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Mills.
And I'm Chris Costa. The report from the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services says a nurse raised the head of a bed holding an injured patient who has since lost all movement. There were several other compliance issues that were in the report as well. The hospital originally had until May 4th to fix these problems, but the deadline has been extended to June 30th. We have more information on this story on our website and mobile app. A rift in the town of Boothbay Harbor over its working waterfront.
For more than a year, there's been a debate over whether to protect it for lobstermen or allow more development for tourists. It all comes down to today. Ultimately, voters will have the final say.
Hey.
Here's a familiar face of Boothbay Harbor's working waterfront.
Smile. You're on candid camera.
Randy works at the Sea Pier.
This is a guy who's been fishing quite a while.
Buying lobsters from anyone who docks with a catch.
I like it.
He's been at it for a long time.
12 to 15 years, something roughly there.
He's a lobsterman himself.
Growing up here was a lot different. There was a lot of things to do on the water to make money when I was growing up.
Who left the sea for the dry land.
Nowadays, they don't got nothing.
And stability. But there was some uncertainty in his working waterfront community about the fate of not just this buying station, but their way of life. A developer with continued interest in the area had big plans to change things at a property next door, Captain Fish's Waterfront Inn.
We have a very limited resource, and that's tourism. It's really a sweet spot of about 120 days, 4.5 months.
Maine is losing waterfront at an alarming rate, And I think this is why we're here. This is why people come here to visit, and we need to protect it.
Plans that have candidates for town selectmen divided. Ultimately, the developer backed off his plans for the inn, but another battle remains, deciding what will be allowed to go here instead. Proposed zoning amendments would split the Maritime District into two separate zones. One would remain a working waterfront. The other would allow developers to build businesses focused on tourism. Now voters will decide whether to change the zoning for the first time in over 30 years.
We don't have a master plan for this harbor. And it's very clear that this is very near and dear to a lot of people, and also very valuable.
It also stops a lot of the inner fighting, and people can now start working together to build some togetherness and solve the problems that we're having.
Right now, there's not many lobsters being caught.
But for the Sea Pier's future, it's been locked in by a nonprofit that purchased it and plans to protect it.
I think this is a good place for us to be going forward. I think we can do a lot of innovative stuff here.
It's the new home to Luke's Lobster that will keep a buying station here and Randy. A local who knows things have to change for things to stay the same.
You know, the older I get, I like it more quieter, but I really wanted things to pick up because I wanted my kids to stay here.
And the polls close tonight at 6. We'll share those results as soon as we get them. We also have much more about this story on our website and mobile app.
Not a bad day if you like rain. That afternoon was just a little bit brutal.
Todd Gutner discovered this morning, I don't know if you saw this, that there's a certain classification of people who do enjoy rainy weather. Did you see that, Keith?
It's our brain drops today, so you might want
to clearing his throat. Here's a guy who enjoys rain.
You know what?
Carson.
No, we got an email from someone who said they did, and then they told us what it was called. So we'll talk about it later.
Okay,
but yeah,
okay.
I didn't know there was an actual name for it either. But good for them because they're loving this pattern. That's for sure. Visible satellite is showing a lot of cloud cover. The period of heaviest rain has moved now into Bangor, where it's coming down pretty good there. Greenville as well. There's some downpours embedded in what's otherwise light to moderate rain, and then is trailing back to the west with a couple of showers. The next couple of hours of tonight will be just showery because you look west and there isn't a ton of moisture there. The main thump, if you will, of precipitation moving through the state right now into down East Maine, where the rain will be heaviest. So that moves eventually offshore. Temperatures today got into the upper 50s in Caribou and Holton. We talked about Fort Kent, Caribou, Presque Isle having the nicest weather over the past couple of weeks, and we really just can't say that often about that part of Maine, that they have the nicest weather in the state. But look at the temperatures that were caught in this stratiform cloud cover and showers. So those move offshore. After midnight tonight, it should become much, much lighter and just an isolated sprinkle here or there after that. Tomorrow morning, an isolated sprinkle early, but we do start clearing out by the afternoon, especially literally after noon. We should be in better shape and temperatures start pushing into the 60s in some spots by late tomorrow afternoon. Some improvement on Sunday's forecast as well. So guys, this weekend is not a banner weekend, but put in the context of the pattern that we've been in, it looks pretty good.
We'll take it, Keith. Thanks. The Labor Department says the unemployment rate fell to a new 5-decade low of 3.6%. Though that drop partly reflects an increase in the number of Americans who stopped looking for work. Hiring jumped in April as employers added 236,000 jobs, a strong gain suggesting employers have shrugged off any concerns the economy may slow this year.
Some health headlines now. It seems opioids are not the only culprit in America's drug epidemic. The Centers for Disease Control says overdose deaths involving stimulants are also on the rise. Researchers found deaths from cocaine and meth increased by nearly a third between 2016 and 2017. Nearly 3/4 of those deaths also involved opioids. About 70,000 Americans died of drug overdoses in 2017. Last year in Maine, 354 people died of drug overdose.
An encouraging new study finds the risk of transmitting HIV between partners is eliminated with proper medication. The research focused on gay couples in which one was HIV positive. When that person took HIV drug therapy, it prevented the virus from being passed to the HIV negative partner during unprotected sex. The drug therapy works by reducing HIV to levels so low it cannot be passed during that sexual activity. If you think it's best to rinse off that raw chicken before you cook it, think again.
The Centers for Disease Control warns that washing raw poultry does more harm than good. The agency says washing can spread the juices to other food, utensils, and countertops. And those juices may contain salmonella or other harmful bacteria. Only cooking the meat will destroy that bacteria. The CDC says you should wash your hands in warm, soapy water before and after handling raw chicken. We want to thank everybody who called in and donated to our Feed Maine telethon.
Yesterday, News Center Maine raised over $130,000, which includes some pledged checks. This brings our grand total for News Center Maine's Feed Maine initiative to just over $298,000.
And that means, thanks to you, we have surpassed our goal to provide 1 million meals for Mainers. And like we said, we could not have done it without you.
I'm sure it was awesome getting to hear the stories. I know you were on the phones late last night too.
Yeah.
It was probably good hearing from everybody who's calling in to donate.
People, one-time donation, or if they wanted to set up monthly donations,
Yeah.
It was really great. They know people who had been in those situations in the past that needed food themselves, finally getting a chance to give back.
It's awesome.
Really nice.
Very cool. How young is too young to have a smartphone? This is a question we talk about a lot on News Center now. Coming up, the growing initiative that wants parents to wait until kids are a certain age.
And unless you've been living under a rock, you've noticed all the rain we've had lately, and it's caused a lot of problems for sports teams and parents around the state. We'll see how schools are trying to beat Mother Nature. A SpaceX Falcon rocket was supposed to blast off before dawn today with a Dragon cargo capsule, but there was an electrical problem at the last minute. SpaceX said it will try again early tomorrow morning. The delivery is already running a few days late because of a space station power shortage that stalled deliveries until a failed electrical box could be replaced. If the Dragon capsule isn't flying by Saturday, SpaceX will have to wait a week before its next try because of other Air Force operations. This is something we're talking about right now on our Facebook live streams, an online initiative to prevent parents from giving smartphones to their kids until they reach 8th grade, and that has reached a new milestone. It's called Wait Until 8th, started by a couple years ago by a mother in Austin, Texas.
The movement said it reached 20,000 pledges in March from people in 50 states, all 50 states. Brooke Shannon started it after noticing that so many children in elementary school already had smartphones, and the devices were distracting them.
We had some great conversation on our Facebook page about this. Sean says, sorry, but that's not someone else's choice for others. Cheryl adds, my granddaughter is in 8th grade and still doesn't have one, has a simple phone that can call and text all that is needed. And Linda comments, parents could also take the route of teaching their kids about phone respect. It's a personal choice, of course. This is a very interesting topic to me because I worked with kids who were elementary school age who were already starting to get cell phones.
Right.
And I felt that at age 10, that was a little bit young to have your hands on a cell phone.
Sure. I will say on the other side of things, I coach middle school field hockey. And those girls do have phones, and they're required to be in touch with me when they have to miss a practice or they're going to be late. I don't need to hear from their parents. It's their responsibility to tell me when they can't be at practice. So it is a tool to teach responsibility.
I like that.
You got to look at it both ways, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's interesting.
So weigh in on our Facebook page. We'd love to get some more of your thoughts as well. All right, coming up later in the show, we'll meet a tour guide who gives very unique tours at the site of the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, I'm so excited for this story. I love the Derby. And Keith will give us a tour of the weekend forecast. Not that we want it. Liam. All this rain is turning into quite the headache for parents.
Their kids' sports games and practices keep getting canceled all across the state. It is not a decision that school staff enjoy making, but they have many reasons behind it, including safety. A little rain is a good thing, but this?
It's been really miserable. Yep, you can practice in the gym, right?
And it's taking the same toll on school staff, like Gorham's athletic director, Tim Spear.
Right, you got it. Bye-bye. Every day you change something. It's not just a change for us or our kids, but it's a change for all the families.
I mean, it's hard because I don't have my license, so they have to take time off to pick me up and bring me back, so it's kind of all of a mess.
Athletic directors say one of their biggest challenges has been getting grass to grow. See all this mud? It's slippery, and athletic directors say it's unsafe for kids to play on.
You don't want to slip and fall. Yes, this is a pain in the neck. It could be a lot worse.
Places like Rumford are still recovering from weeks of heavy rain. Less than 2 weeks ago, the field at Mountain Valley High School looked like this.
It is. It's a lot of extra work.
Crews trying to keep the fields in good shape are working twice as hard.
Typically, you can get away with painting fields once a week. This year, it's been twice a week, and absolutely added cost to the district. But I feel like you can't really put a price on safety.
All they want now is a chance to play, but there's one opponent that's undefeated.
But you just can't beat Mother Nature.
There are so many issues at play when it comes to school staff having to make that decision. It's not just their school and their kids, but it's also the opposing school, making sure they have transportation to get those kids to an away game or get the other kids to their school. And then the state of Maine has a deadline for when all the high schools need to finish their regular seasons by. So you can't have kids playing too many days in a row, so on and so forth. The field can't be overused. There are so many issues at play that this rain is really causing a problem.
So that's why we bring in Keith Carson. We're filing a complaint.
I mean, we had what? In April, more than half the days of the month?
Yes.
Yeah, 17 days.
That's
17 days
unbelievable.
in April. And it's obviously not off to a great start in May either. So I wonder that about baseball because they play so many games. And it seems like there's not many days for makeup.
I'd be
games.
curious
You know
to
what I mean?
see the difference between schools that have grass fields and schools that have turf fields.
Yeah.
Because the turf is a little bit more forging in these rainy conditions.
In the rain, yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I don't know how many have turf. Let's make a sports person.
Good
do it.
amount,
A
yeah.
good amount, yeah. I know it's not like a preferred field for some sports, but it does soak this up a little bit better. And the funny thing is, guys, we haven't actually seen that much total rain, but it's rained almost every day at some point. So 48 in Portland, 48 in Wisconsin. These are high temperatures. Look at Caribou, Holton. Again, they are the winners in the state with the most sunshine and the warmest temperatures. It's the 4th or 5th day in a row like that. And the pattern over the past 2 weeks has been Aroostook County has been winning this game here because all these systems have been to our south. Now this one will clip into northern Maine, and there's some rain now into down east, a couple of bands of heavy stuff moving towards extreme down east Maine, and Greenville seeing some downpours as well. The rest of this is light to moderate rain, and back to the west, it's a lot more broken up in nature. So we'll get a little bit of a break here in the next few hours, a few more showers through around midnight, and then we'll start to settle down with just a couple sprinkles by tomorrow morning. Good news is the timing is almost just right. So tomorrow you wake up, I guess depending on what time you wake up, but you wake up at like a normal time, and it will be cloudy, there'll be a sprinkle here and there, it'll still be damp out. By mid-morning we're just cloudy, and then by afternoon we go partly cloudy. That's the best part of the day. Temperatures I think will be warmer than this, most likely into the low 60s in a lot of spots by tomorrow afternoon. So not a great day, but again, our bar has been lowered substantially here over the past couple of weeks, so it doesn't take much to impress us, I don't think, in the weather department. Tomorrow will be good enough, and then Sunday we start with some sun. We do cloud up in the afternoon. Looks like most of the rain, though, stays away from most of the state until maybe late afternoon. A couple of showers in there over far southern Maine, but again, Sunday is good enough. The first half of the day especially looks good, so that's kind of the meat and potatoes of it. And then on Monday we'll clear out. Our Mondays have been fantastic, and it's just the timing is not great for most people. You know, you're the occasional person that has Monday off, but in general, it's not a popular day to have great weather. Looking for some help. This is the jet stream, and see how it's pointed right over New England. Watch it oscillate here over the next week, but notice it doesn't really deviate from pointing directly at New England. Until that changes, every storm that comes out of the central part of the country will hit us. So we have to change that, and it's just not happening. So no, it's like I need a campaign slogan here. We want change, you know. Although we already had the ads against me, wrong forecast, wrong for Maine. So
there's that.
Yeah, the slander ads are already out there. So you got showers every couple days. Again, the weekend is not bad. The temperatures are a little bit warmer next week, but I don't see anything that, you know, is too exciting, like nothing in the mid 70s or anything like that. So.
Are we below average temperature-wise?
Yeah, you know, I actually have not looked. Like April had to have been below average because we just didn't have any. We didn't have any blowtorch days. We didn't have anything to drag our average up.
Yeah.
So and May is. I mean, that's only a couple days, but it's definitely been cool.
So here's a question for you. And every time I go out on a story, people say, "Tell Keith to change the weather." So I'll ask you this.
Yeah.
The jet stream that you just talked about. Do we have any kind of timeline on how or when that could change?
Yeah, the problem is the models really only go out 10 days.
Okay.
And it's not fixed by then. So you can get cute and start looking upstream. Like in theory, I could look into Asia and see what the jet stream does there, and it will ripple itself back. But I don't want to get that desperate. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. That was complicated. Let's get simple.
Right.
A simple question with a lot of different answers. We asked you today, where do you consider the mid-coast region to start? A lot of people, the popular answer begins in Brunswick, ends in Belfast. Comment on our Facebook Live, and we'll get to some of those answers as well.
Definitely interesting conversation from that. Also, check this out. A Bangor area 8th grade student built a magnificently crafted replica of Bangor City Hall and then gifted that to the city.
The city said it took Beckett Mundell Wood, a student at William S. Cohen School, about a month and more than 2,000 pieces to design and build the model. But this is not his first time recreating something from the Queen City. Beckett Mundell Wood has already built miniature versions of his own middle school and the Bangor Opera House. Churchill Downs is buzzing ahead of the Kentucky Derby on Saturday.
And visitors have been swarming to the Derby Museum to get a little taste of the excitement before the big day. But this year, tour groups are in for a bit of a surprise. Mike Fussell explains.
It's clear David Gowd has mastered walking backwards.
I think that the horses are the best athletes in the world. I really do.
To him, it's second nature. But if you look closely, you might notice at times something isn't normal. Gowd has a swag in his step.
This tour is leaving in 2 minutes. Thank you.
And now, in just seconds, these unsuspecting guests will be in the front row as the story behind it unfolds.
My name is Dave.
Sure, they'll learn about horses, but also the man behind the name tag. And it starts when he does this.
And it is a walking tour, so let's just do a little quick warm-up real quick. So we're just gonna warm up. We warm up? Okay, well, I'll warm up for all of us.
It's an introduction that certainly beats a handshake.
I was like, yeah, we're here. This is go time.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
A glimpse into why Gowd is the way he is.
I was a principal dancer with the Louisville Ballet from 1988 to 2000.
It might be hard to see, but he says it's a perfect fit.
We both have short but really exciting careers.
Thoroughbreds and ballet dancers, one and the same.
And they're all divas.
While it's not a ballet bar, A rail in front of the track has become his home.
All the way around, and then right over there is the finish line.
Goud didn't specifically tell visitors about his past passion, but they understood.
Yeah, he didn't say it, but seeing his moves and seeing how balanced he was, I was like, he knows what he's talking about.
And it was also apparent that, even without saying it, for Goud, each tour and each move,
If you look to my left, right over there,
is the marriage of a passion for performance and for people.
You guys have a great day. Thanks for your time and attention.
Who are now leaving with a smile.
He made us smile. And you can watch the Kentucky Derby right here on News Center Maine starting at 2:30 tomorrow. And Pat Callahan is here with a lot more coming up on News Center Maine at 5:30. Hey, Pat.
Hey, Lindsay and Chris. One of Maine's largest hospitals is in danger of losing federal Medicare and Medicaid funding. We'll tell you about the problems that have been reported at Central Maine Medical Center. The Maine and New Hampshire congressional delegations welcomed the Secretary of the Navy to the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard today. Part of the mission was to avoid potential cuts in construction projects as President Trump moves money around to pay for a border wall. And the summer tourists will soon be back at the beaches on Cape Cod, and there are concerns that great white sharks will be back too. We'll take a look at steps being taken to keep people safe this season. All that and more coming up in just a couple of minutes on News Center at 5:30.
All right, Pat, thank you very much. People who actually like the rain, Keith will explain in Brain Drops coming up.
Okay, so Lindsay kind of spoiled this, but we got an email from a woman today, a nice woman, saying how, like, well, you guys talk negatively about the rain, but actually I love the rain. It's called a pluviophile. And so we looked this up, and I didn't want to get too serious because it's not that serious. So there's a BuzzFeed list on signs you're a pluviophile. First of all, obviously, you're just really digging this pattern if you are.
Sure.
And it is a group, and it's also a name for organisms that thrive in wet weather.
Okay.
So this is just for fun, but it's interesting that there's like personality types for everything. So this woman was saying she really enjoys it. She finds it like relaxing when it's raining, and she just goes about her normal life, and it's like a positive to her when it rains. I think it's interesting. There's like everything, snow, you know, which I get snow a little bit more than rain, but luckily there's somebody who's happy out there, you know, somebody.
I don't mind rain. I get the
Yeah.
relaxing part. I just don't want to do everything I have to do outside in it. I
Right.
can sit inside all day and look at the rain and listen to the rain.
Well, yeah, and I think it's a matter of duration here. Like we talked about before, if you were to spend, you know, get one big storm and you get 2 inches of rain, people really have a problem with that. It's that I think it's sunlight.
Yes.
It's a lack of sunlight.
Yeah.
We're dealing with some of the issues you deal with during the winter with seasonal affective disorder. Now, still, but we got to look into Asia to find any solutions to that.
He's
The
always
jet
bringing
stream.
the happy, isn't he?
No, I mean, these people like it. That's great.
Thanks
I have
for
no idea
watching News Center Now.
How long
everybody.
is this show?
News Center Maine at 5:30 starts right now.